dive right into hashtags now. It's a great way to kind of put you on the map, helpful for anyone who is, trying to get attention from a specific brand, anyone who's trying to grow their following, because it's definitely a way that people can explore and just discover you and your work. So for an individual freelancer who's trying to get attention from specific brands, obviously a good way for you to integrate that is to include the brand's hashtag. Say I'm posting a pair of Nikes. Here are a pair of Nikes that I was wearing, and I just looked down and I liked the lighting and just thought it would be a good image. So I wanted to include hashtag Nike, hashtag Air Max, hashtag Air Max 95, meaning anyone who hashtags or looks at the hashtag Air Max 95 is going to be able to see this image. I would say a nice sweet spot would be maybe 5 to 6 hashtags. That's just my own personal opinion. Some people don't like to use any hashtags at all. That's my own personal standard, but again, even with the hashtags, you can also tag the brands in the actual image. And one thing to also keep in mind with hashtags is that if you as a user don't put it in your image, it's not gonna be on the hashtag map. So if someone else comes in and writes hashtag Nike for you, that doesn't mean that your image will then be on the hashtag map. So, okay, we're gonna write the caption now. It's your typical footwear photo. I have Tim's here. My friend has the Adidas Yeezys on. Is there a storytelling aspect that I want to tell the world? Well, the Tims that I have are awesome. I bought them from the store named ProCell, and they're actually dead stock pink Tims from like the 80s. And I luckily was able to get the last pair. And so that's kind of a fun story to tell. Or you can just even make like a sneaker reference if you wanted. Or you can just, it's up to you. I mean, captions are pretty easy for the most part, but it's also integrating the brands involved and seeing how we can add that. So I'm just gonna write pink dead stock Timberlands courtesy of @ProCell. So I'm gonna do hashtag. So the difference between me writing hashtag Timberlands versus @Timberlands is because I wanted the image to just be on the map rather than leading directly to the actual brand account page. And then I wrote courtesy of @ProCell because I want the viewer to, I want to encourage them to click ProCell to learn more about the store. So it's also understanding where your account following is and what is the call to action a lot of times, because that's what a hashtag and a handle does, whether you're tagging a brand or tagging a friend. It's an opportunity for people to discover your friend or the brand. And so I wrote my caption, I wrote my hashtags. So a lot of times, like for example with Nike, they have like 50 different accounts. So Nike Sportswear, Nike Lab, Nike Running, blah, blah, blah. So I definitely try my best to tag all the ones that are relevant, because why not? That doesn't hurt. I don't really think, it's always good, I feel like it's always good to just add the tags. Timberland and ProCell. Okay, cool. So we have it here. And then a fun way is you can also play with where you want it to be as well. I'm just doing the angle thing because I think it's fun. And sometimes you want to refer to specific items or specific brands within the photo. That's doable as well. Cool, so I'm gonna tweet it as well. And boom, we're gonna let it live and see what the world thinks about it, right? And let's see how it looks on my grid. Looks good. Looks like we have a really good like diagonal angle thing going on here. Ooh, I love when this happens. So notice that I have a light background. This is medium background, light background, light, light, light. So we have this cool X thing that's going on with a light background, dark background, light background, dark background. And so maybe this is an ongoing theme that I can keep up with. When we're using hashtags, it's just a matter of finding the right, keeping in mind what market you want to reach out to and where you want to be discovered. I just really just think about brands, and I think about just general references in pop culture and music culture. And I'm sure you'll find your own niche market as well.
Locations on Instagram are another great way to get your content discovered, but also find potential clients or customers. Posts on Instagram that have a location tag actually perform 79% better than posts without a location. So whenever you're uploading your content, make sure you're tagging a location on Instagram. When picking locations on Instagram as a business, I want you to think about picking a location that's a little more broad. So if you're at a coffee shop in your city, you may not want to tag that specific coffee shop because there may not be nearly as many people looking at content at that shop itself. Instead, you could tag your neighborhood or the city itself, and you have the chance of getting in front of more people and connecting with them through that location than a super specific location like a coffee shop. While Instagram tells you how many posts are in a hashtag, it doesn't actually tell you how many posts are in a location. So this is a little bit more of an art than a science. But my biggest tip for you is to look into that location on Instagram and check out the quality of the content that's being posted there. Is it content you want to be associated with? And is it content your ideal audience would find interesting? If so, then use that location. But if not, you can steer clear of it. The last place you can find people to engage with on Instagram are people who are following others on the platform. Think of this as a big community that you can connect with on Instagram itself. I like to think of a few different types of accounts where I can find potential followers. The first would be competitors, then complementary brands, then client or customer favorites. Competitors are those people who offer a service or a product that's directly similar to you. Complementary brands are those accounts on Instagram who offer some type of product or service that is in the same wheelhouse as you. The best example would be a wedding photographer who could connect with followers of complementary brands like wedding planners, venues, and dress designers. Someone who's shopping for a wedding photographer would probably be shopping for those other things as well. And the last would be customer or client favorites. These can be big accounts like bloggers or brands, or they can be a local coffee shop or community center, whatever it may be. You can connect with people who are following and engaging with those accounts that they really love. Now, when you're thinking about connecting with people in these types of accounts, I don't want you to just go to the people who are following these accounts and go through and like all their content. Instead, engage with the engaged users from these accounts. The best place to go is to one of these accounts' latest post and head to the comment section. Find the people who are commenting and follow them back to their account to start building engagement. So now you know why all of these pieces are important for engagement on Instagram. So how do you put it all together and take some actionable steps for starting to engage and building your audience on the platform? So some of my best tips for engaging on Instagram and growing your account start with my 10 for 1 rule. I want you to engage with 10 new people for every one post you put up on Instagram. And this is why having a concrete strategy for what you're doing is so important. When you understand what you're posting, why you're posting it, and when you're posting it, that frees up your time so you can spend more time having conversations on Instagram. Another rule I have for Instagram is commenting is key. That means I want to spend time actively engaging with other people through comments. Likes are great, but comments are where the real magic happens. It's also important that you respond to comments from your followers. My next rule for engaging on Instagram is keep it natural. You don't want to force it and comment on things you actually wouldn't like or engage with. So whenever you're commenting on something, leave a genuine comment. Have a real conversation with someone. Don't just comment for the sake of checking it off your to-do list.
Most of my posts are about inspiring people or making people laugh. That's my platform. So let's say you don't know if your audience like more inspirational stuff or funny content. You have to play around with your posts to figure out which ones are getting better hits and getting you more follows. Let's take a look at me trying to figure out my audience. You know, everybody thinks you have to be an Instagram model and you think, oh, if I'm like half naked or I had this really iconic shot, I'm gonna have a ton of follows. Well, if I'm looking at my data from this post, I really only got 27 follows. So even though I garnered a ton of likes, it really didn't increase my following. Now, if we compare that to the video next to it, is just me just talking about Easter and church. It did really well. I got almost 500,000 views. from this post and I had 681 follows. What I learned from those 2 posts is the fact that videos will increase my engagement, and my platform and audience is definitely geared more towards that than an actual iconic, beautiful shot. I've noticed from my audience that my prime days are Monday through Thursday. So on the weekends, either I don't post or I play around with the material a little bit because I already know I'm going to have low engagement. For me, an okay post is 15 to 20,000 likes. A good post is 30,000 likes. This one I posted on Saturday night. I knew that a lot of my followers were not going to be online. I risked it. I just played around with it. Still got 11 follows from it, but it was just, I wasn't necessarily freaking out that this post, like if I would have posted this my prime time, this post essentially is a bomb for me. But because it was on the weekend, there was no harm, no foul by posting it. And it gave me a chance to kind of play around with the material and see, okay, like is a casual photo of me going to increase my engagement? This is actually not my video. I found this video from another track person that had a smaller platform than me. And pretty much I used the repost app to take this video and post it. Well, they got, I think, 5,000 views. This is one of my highest views of the year, almost at 1.5 million. It reached me a ton of followers by getting me 417 new follows. And so I think the thing I learned from this is, if you don't have any content to post, don't be afraid to get content from elsewhere. Just make sure that you're tagging the original content provider. No harm, no foul. Your account grows, and then the person that I took this content from, their account is growing. It's okay to do that. If you don't have anything to post and you're stressed out like, oh, I didn't have time to create this amazing photo, I didn't have time to think of something to talk about on my Instagram, go ahead, just save some of these. You can bookmark them. So when I saw this video, I bookmarked it right here, and then a few days later when I realized that I had not posted in a while, I posted it on Friday, and for a Friday post, it did very well. This is when I really started to learn that my audience likes videos over pictures, and that I get more engagement and I have more new follows from videos than pictures. So play around with that, figure out your platform, and find out which one helps increase your engagement more, because engagement helps boost your photos and videos to the top, which therefore more people see it, which increases your followers, and that's what helps grow your account.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe to stay up to date on all of our latest videos.